Okay. Well, thank y'all for joining me today, and I'm excited to meet with y'all and talk with you about your job. So, why don't you both introduce yourselves and just tell us your name and where you work?
Hi, my name is Benjamin Raymond.
And
And work.
I work at the Cary Street Gym at VCU.
awesome.
And my name is Andrew Russo, and I'm an employment specialist with business connections at VCU's Rehabilitation Research and Training Center.
Thank you. So, Benjamin, what would you like for us to know about you? Or do you have any special interest or hobbies?
Yes, my hobbies are at work it's cleaning stuff and sanitizing.
What about when you're at home? What do you like to do in your free time?
I like to play basketball.
I remember that from when you were at Project Search. And don't you have some favorite teams?
Oh yes, I like the Richmond Spiders.
Mhm.
How about VCU Rams? Do you cheer for them now since you work at VCU?
Well, no, but sometimes I go to the games. I
Okay,
go to basketball games sometimes.
you do.
Yeah,
What else do you do in your free time?
in my free time, I like listening to music.
Okay. Do you have any favorite songs right now?
Uh, well, mine would be uh, like Rihanna or Selena Gomez and
Okay,
Cyrus.
great. So
And
who do you,
ride your bike a lot too,
Yeah,
don't you?
I ride my bike home from the gym.
oh wow. How far is that? How long does it take you to get home?
It takes me to get home about approximately, uh, I don't know, like 30 minutes home.
Wow, you must be in good shape then. I wouldn't do so good probably riding my bike home. Who do you live with?
My parents,
Okay.
sister.
And uh, where, tell me a little bit more about your work at the VCU gym. What do you do there?
Um, I see. I clean the yoga mats and then the bathrooms and the locker rooms.
Mhm. And then you wipe down some of the exercise or the
I worked on the spray bottles.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And
So sanitizing things and making sure the floors and everything are nice and clean.
Yeah, make sure the floors are nice and clean. I use the broom and dustpan to to sweep the dust in the men's um main locker room and day use locker room. The universal bathrooms,
okay.
I use the mop to clean.
So you really enjoy cleaning, huh?
Yeah,
Good.
you'd be
Eh,
healthy.
That's right. It keeps people healthy. How long have you worked at the gym?
I've worked at the gym for about how many months is it? I started working in October, so that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, I think.
Okay. All right. And so you started your job after COVID happened. So your job cleaning is even more important than
Mhm.
anything right now, right?
Yeah, everyone's getting vaccinated.
That's right. That's right. So how you said that you ride your bike home from work. You ride your bike to work also?
No, my
Okay.
parents drive me there.
Okay. And they
And on
bring you
rainy
bikes.
days, yeah. And on rainy days, I don't. I just drive
Oh, you drive.
to and
Okay.
from work.
Cool. How did you find your job? Did anybody help you with that?
Yeah, and Amber, my previous job coach,
Uh-huh.
has helped me find a job.
Okay. And so did she help you with your interview?
Yes.
Okay. What else did she do for you? Did she did is that when Andrew started working with you, when you started working at your job?
Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, well, Amber told me that she is like a job coach at Project Search.
Right. And so what has Andrew done to help you at your job?
As Andrew does what Andrew has done.
Yeah. How has Andrew helped you on your job?
What you tell? Wait, yeah, I sometimes he checks my checklist.
Okay. Did he help you learn your job when you first started?
He did.
Okay. What if you have a problem? Who do you reach out
Just
to?
call for help.
Okay. Do you call
Yeah,
somebody?
Ben-
Go ahead,
I
Andrew.
was just going to say, Benjamin and I have talked about and worked on problem solving. So if something unexpected happens or if something goes wrong, we've talked about how Benjamin should look for somebody who can help him. And
Okay.
we've talked about different people who work here who might be able to help him.
This question's for Andrew. Andrew, were there any other supports you had to put in place for Benjamin once he started working?
Well, the big thing was that when Benjamin started here, they had a general checklist for all of the housekeepers for the different tasks that they needed to complete. But it wasn't the most organized checklist. So we talked with his supervisor and were able to develop one that splits the tasks into different days of the week so that it does the same tasks on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then a different task list on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And once we organized that task list a little bit more, it made a big difference as far as helping Benjamin understand what he should be working on. Made it a little more manageable overall.
Okay.
So that task list was really the main support that we put in place.
Okay. Benjamin, do you have any friends that you work with? Any new friends you've made?
I've made. It's mostly girls that I see.
Yeah. Is
Sometimes-
say that again?
Sometimes I like to hug.
Sometimes you like to hug. And is that allowed or is that considered unprofessional at work?
Sometimes I think it's kind of fun for a while.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we've talked with the coworkers and made sure that they are okay with that. But in general, especially during COVID, we gotta make sure we're staying safe and also respecting other people.
Yeah.
But
I haven't been able to do that because when I started working here, I wasn't able to do that. I just had to keep social distancing.
That's right. So what do you like about your job?
Oh, what I like about my job is that I enjoy working with my coworkers and getting the job done.
Okay. And you like cleaning, you said?
Yeah, and cleaning.
When you were looking for a job and Amber was helping you, did you tell Amber that there were certain types of jobs that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think there was probably, I think I could have worked in the where could I have worked? I know I've worked in the Richmond, the University of Richmond gym, the Weinstein Center
Uh-huh.
for recreation and wellness.
So y'all looked at that place too?
Yeah, well, I did that like 2 summers ago.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And are there any lessons that you've learned from being at work?
Lessons that I've learned from being at work. I've learned. I haven't learned any lessons.
No lessons yet. Okay.
well, what about so we've talked about like if something goes wrong or something unexpected happens. We've talked about how to work through that. You've learned sort of like problem solving.
Okay. That's a good one to learn.
Oh, and perseverance. That's another word.
That's a good one. Yeah. What would you like your coworkers to know about you?
That I think I think they look very nice, don't they?
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
but we remember, since this is your workplace and since these are your coworkers, we need to act professionally and make sure that we're speaking to them about appropriate things and professional things.
Sometimes I'm saying things that are unprofessional to them.
yeah. So you have to be careful then, right? And say only professional things, right?
Right.
So what would you tell businesses about why they should hire people with disabilities?
Well, my disability is autism.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only disability I've got.
Yeah.
And people should hire. Well, they just want to get better.
Yeah. So people with disabilities just want to be a part of the community, right? Is
Yeah, part of the
Yeah.
community.
there anything else you want to tell me? Andrew, did you want to add anything?
I was just going to say that Benjamin completes all of the tasks, the same tasks that his coworkers do, and he does a great job. He gets a lot of positive feedback from his supervisor. So I think that just goes to show that hiring people with disabilities can be a great success for a business.
Yeah. Help a business fulfill a need that they have, right? Cool. Well, thank y'all so much for doing this for me today. Okay. So we are back with our second interview, and you see that we have Andrew Russo back with us, our famous job coach from Virginia Commonwealth University. And with him, we have River. River, you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody where you work?
Hi, I'm River, and I work at the vitamin shop in Doswell, and I've been there for about 3 years now.
Awesome.
We just saw a sign celebrating his 3-year anniversary this month at the Vitamin Shop's distribution center.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you
River,
very much.
tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you enjoy doing? What interests and hobbies do you have?
So, like personal, if it's on my okay, so on my personal time, I like to come home after work, relax, chill. Usually play video games, play music, or go out, have fun. Either way. But most likely of this year, I've been going to a lot of truck meets with a lot of friends of mine, and most of them have been for celebratory celebrations of life and a lot of things. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that because of this year, and then I'm not gonna go the other way with the police. So that too. So
Well, good. So you said you're in a truck club. Is that right?
I wish I was, yeah, but I don't got the truck for that though. I got a just normal truck. I just show up doing things with all my friends.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So, and you work at the vitamin shop. You've been there for 3 years. So tell us a little bit about what you do there.
I work in PTA, so I work in post-sale shipping. I would think it's like retail, I believe so. Either way, I work on a line and with a bunch of people, and you have 2 lines. You work 2 lines or either 3, and you get whatever comes down the line. So you get pill bottles, or soaps. They ship a whole stuff, push a whole lot of stuff down the line, like anything that comes in a box. So you got 2 boxes of soap that are handmade soaps, and they say put 2 in the box. You take 2 of those, and then you put them in the box, and then you press the button. You press the red button, and you insert it down the line, and it goes all the way to shipping, and then they put it on the truck. So we get a lot of orders.
Okay.
And I believe it's each store says, we need this many of this type of item, this many of this type of item. And River's job is to count out each item and make sure that it goes in the right box, that it goes to the right store.
Okay. Now, how do you work part-time or full-time?
Full time.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So you have benefits and everything.
Oh yeah, I like it.
How
You've
did
been
you
working a
find?
lot of overtime too, haven't you?
Oh yeah. We've been working a lot of 9 hours. So it's sometimes it's difficult for me to get up early. Nobody likes getting up early, obviously,
Yeah.
but that's if you're working, overtime, it's what you have to do.
And so do you work Monday through Friday?
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes
Okay.
we work Saturdays too.
Okay. And then how do you get to your job?
I drive.
Oh, okay. And then, you, how did you find your job? That's what I was going to ask.
Well, how did I find it? Well, after having a really successful run with Miss Angela, with Miss Mitchell and Miss Kristen and all of them there at Project Search, I learned a lot, and Miss Kristen felt like I was ready, so we were just looking for jobs, and then I said, well, let me see what I can find out. And out of the blue, at the time, the manager John, who was here, but he's not here no more. He runs Arizona now. When I first got there, he got back to Miss Kristen and he said, "Yeah, we got to open it for him." So I came in the next day dressed nice, shot an interview right out, perfect, worked out. Boom, next thing I'm on the scene.
That's awesome. And so for the people that are watching that don't know who Miss Kristen and Miss Angela and all those folks are, what's the project that they work for? Your-
Project Search was it was something that was made for kids that had really hard learning abilities. So if you for instance, like with me, I had a hard time learning with money, and I had a hard time learning with math. Or they didn't know how to work a job, at least. So learning how to do a lot of stuff had to do with learning disabilities, and they really helped a lot in a lot of ways. So I don't know, Miss Kristen and them are watching, but if they are, I just want to say, thank you guys very much for really helping me a lot. I really should have told y'all that before,
Aw.
but thank you guys.
And Project Search was in a hospital, right?
Yes, ma'am. It was near Atlee, if I'm
Uh-huh.
not mistaken. Yeah.
And so you did 3 internships at the hospital for Project Search, and then Miss Kristen helped you find the job at the vitamin shop.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so when you started at the vitamin shop, did Miss Kristen or any of your other job coaches help you? Did they put in any supports to help you?
I
It was a long time ago.
it was it was more like, when I first started that, before I even left Project Search, the day I had the interview to come over here and have the job interview over here, Miss Mitchell and Miss Diana, they were all like, "Look, we're counting on you. We know you can do this. Just go be you. Just work hard and stay focused and do not mess up." That was one thing I was like, "Yes, ma'am." So ever since then, I've been here, but I've gotten used to it.
And so, what's your favorite part about your job?
Being online and oh Lord,
That's okay.
sorry, something happened. But my favorite part about being on the job is it's just like having people having people around that I know, and just working. It's just in general just working hard and
Mhm.
having the knowledge to know that I got a lot of good people to work around with.
Good.
And
So have you made
if I
some, I'm sorry, have you made some friends at work?
Oh, a lot. I've made a lot of friends at work, and some people, surprisingly, believe it or not, there are some people that I went to school with that work here,
Oh, cool.
and I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Ashland's yeah,
Ashland's a small town, right?
or Hanover, Dazzle, Beaver Dam, you name it, it's all over here. Local.
So now that you've been at the job for 3 years, now Andrew just comes in and checks on you, and is that all?
Yes, ma'am. I I miss Kristen when I've had Miss Kristen. If y'all know Austin,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's somebody I was really, 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 really close with. He was, if he never told y'all, he's been a camp counselor, and
Yes.
that's how I know Austin. So
Yeah.
that's how a lot of people realize it. So yes, he was one of my job coaches as well too, and a
So-
lot of those people. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. A lot of those people.
Yeah, a lot of them really helped me a lot too as well. So
Good. So what are some of the, have you learned any lessons from working, either whether it's through Project Search or at the vitamin shop?
well, I've learned there's nothing, it really was nothing to learn except, consequences will pay you back really hard as well too. But I started really paying attention about work when I was like 6, when I used to go on a job site with my dad a lot. So learning how to see how my dad used to work, that was a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah.
So I kind of got the adjective about, working to see how all my dad's workers did their jobs. And I was like, okay, so I kind of see what my dad means by hard work. So, I would always tell my dad, and like, I was like, dad's like, just work hard as much as you can, dude. But yeah, learning about work up in here, I've learned the fact that you can't mess around. You cannot slack whatsoever. If they catch you slacking, or or anything in general, if you do anything bad in general, if you're at work that you're not supposed to be doing, it's kiss your job goodbye and no paychecks for a whole whatever.
Yeah. So there's consequences for slacking off and not doing your job.
I do know.
Is there anything that you would like for people out there who have learning challenges, who aren't working yet? Is there anything you'd like to tell those folks about going to work and anything?
Yes, ma'am. For those that do have those kind of learning abilities, don't be scared.
Yeah.
Take risks sometimes. Just do the job safely. And, if you have a hard time learning it, which of course I'm pretty sure they do, just take your time or ask somebody to learn how to do it. Don't be, don't be scared. It's always good to ask somebody for help if you have a hard time learning it, or, learn how to do it. It's really, I've had a lot of hard times learning how to do math, guys, or counting money, but I got better along the way with learning it, and it helped me a lot. So y'all guys ever have, any problems or hard time learning, just ask.
That's great advice.
Do the best you can.
That's great advice.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is beside you or wherever you work at. If they tell you to go hard and they tell you to work harder and to push you to that limit, don't listen to them. You work how you work.
How about for businesses who have never hired somebody with a learning challenge? What advice would you give a business?
I would, if there are people that like to work, and if there are people that have learning abilities and they want to get into stuff like that, I would definitely say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna have to accept the fact that you have that problem.
Yeah.
If they know you have palsy or any disability or have any learning disability, and they're gonna have to learn to accept it. If they can't accept that, then that's too bad. If they don't know how you work, then that's bad for them because they probably, they're like, hey, we didn't give this person a chance. Then they're gonna really feel bad, and then they're gonna try to call you or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Well, that's
That's about
awesome,
it.
River. River, you've always had great advice, so I always like talking to you. So
I try to give the best advice as I can. So, I try to give motivations as well too. So I take my day one step at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't let nobody push me around on my day.
Good.
Definitely.
Well, I know that you've got to get back to work, that you're on a short window. So we appreciate you helping us. And I know everybody that watches this is going to be happy to hear from you. And I'll be sure to tell Miss Kristen and the whole Project Search team what you said and let them see this. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Thanks.
Ma'am.
Bye, y'all.
Oh,
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. We should be recording now. So I just want to thank you all for joining us today and taking the time to be with us so that we can share all about you and your job with the people across the country. And we have Andrew Russo here with us again. Third time's the charm, Andrew. Andrew works with me at VCU and is an employment specialist or job coach. And then I'm going to let you, Maurice, introduce yourself and tell us where you work.
Okay. My name is Maurice Gray. I work at Caliber Collision over on Bad New Road.
Okay. Who's that guy behind you?
Oh, that's my dad.
Thanks for joining us, Dad. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you like to do when you're not at work?
Well, I like playing with my trains. Every now and then I play with my video games.
Anywhere you like to go?
Fan, right? You're a big fan of the NBA and the NFL, aren't you?
Yeah, there's the 49ers, and I like the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay. So you watch a lot of sports on TV?
Every now and then. Yeah.
Okay. So who do you live with?
My parents.
Okay.
Mother and my dad.
Okay. And you said you work at Caliper Collision, and what do you do there?
Yes. Custodial, janitorial, detail,
Okay.
actually.
How do you get to work?
GRTC.
Okay, so you take public transportation, you take the bus there?
Yes.
Did anybody have to help you learn how to use the bus?
Let me inject that. That is not actually the bus service. It is the caravan.
Okay. So he takes the specialized caravan service that's door to door. Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you're at Caliper and you're doing the custodial work, can you tell me some of the tasks that you actually do?
Sure. Cleaning the shop, taking out the trash, breaking down boxes, get rid of scrap and the recyclable parts like car bumpers.
And how long have you worked there?
Oh, I want to say 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So actually, the first five was with Connor Brothers.
Uh-huh.
But then they got taken over by Caliber Collision, which is based out of Texas. So they added another 5 years to where I've been there.
Wow. That's awesome.
So actually, so I've been transferred to Caliber Collision. That's where I got added another 5 years.
Okay. And what days of the week do you work?
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and every other Wednesday.
Okay. And so how did you get your job? Who helped you find your job?
I
Was
went
it
through I went through what I'd like to say. I believe I think it was PAVE, I believe.
He started out with PAVE Pro. He went through the PAVE program at J. Sargent Reynolds. He graduated from the PAVE program. But if you want to actually help him find the job, and I do apologize, I don't remember his name. What's his job coach? Chandler. There you go, Chandler.
And so you had a job coach named Chandler that helped you find your job, right?
Yes.
So when he helped you find your job, tell me what he did to help you. Did he take you to your interview or anything like that?
Oh gosh. It's been a long time. Cause it's getting kind of hard to remember. But I think it was that, and there was some training involved.
Okay. So he helped you learn your job?
Yes.
Okay. Good. And so now what does your job coach do for you while you're at work?
He's helping me, making sure that things goes along well, making sure I'm staying on task. Just overall, just checking to see how things are going.
Okay. Andrew, you want to share anything about?
Well, Maurice has been, like he said, he's been working there for 10 years. So by the time that I started working with Maurice, he had things down and really didn't need a ton of support. So I usually go there just to make sure everything's going well, especially with the pandemic. Luckily, Maurice was able to keep working, but I wanted to make sure that didn't create too many challenges for him. But when I'm there, he's always working hard. So I mostly just make sure that he doesn't get too distracted socializing or anything like that. But no, Maurice does a great job. And one thing that I've noticed about Maurice's job from day one is he really takes it seriously, because picking up trash and keeping the shop clean is a big part of keeping the shop safe. That's something that Maurice talked to me about on the very first day was, making sure that I'm wearing safety glasses and making sure that we're taking everything very seriously so that everybody who works there is safe.
That's awesome, Maurice and Andrew. Thank you. So you've been there for so long, you've probably made some friends there?
Yes.
So you've probably seen a lot of people come and go, and not many people have lasted as long at that company as you have they?
Well, that I'm probably going to say that's true. Some could be for, I want to say better paying jobs. Better paying jobs, pay, and some probably just for some personal reasons.
Yeah. So what do you like most about your job?
Well, it's a good environment for me. It's closer to home, and like you guys said, I mean, I've been there for 10 years. I probably couldn't think of anywhere else to be other than there.
Yeah. What are some of the strengths that you have that make you good at your job?
Well, there was a training that helped me out. There's good people. There's good people like my parents that that supported me. There's the will to try to be a good employee. There's, I want to probably say, the strong work. I have a good work ethic.
Yeah.
That I probably say that's gonna be important. That's important. Safety. Just safety conscious. Trying to be safety conscious.
Yeah. So for people with disabilities who are out there maybe listening to this and who haven't been able to find a job yet, do you have any suggestions for them or any encouragement, any advice?
If there's anything I can probably say is, I know things times are kind of hard. I wouldn't give up. I would keep looking, because I'm sure there's plenty of jobs out there that's available. And yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, there's plenty of jobs out there, and I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there, and I'm sure there's people that probably knew them, that probably willing to help them out, and I'm sure there's parents that I'm sure they have parents too that could probably help them out.
How about businesses that are not quite sure if they should hire somebody with a disability? What advice would you have for those businesses and managers?
I'm trying to think. So that's kind of a tough one. But anytime now.
I was going to say your dad can add in if he has any suggestions.
Give me a chance.
Just like you said, give me a chance, and at the end of it all, it'll be worthwhile. It'll be rewarding.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. Those are all the questions I had for you. Dad, do you want to share anything to maybe parents who have a child that's looking to work, and any concerns that you had, or how you've seen your son grow through employment?
I just know he's grown so much.
It's hard to talk about, I'm sure. You're going to make us all tear up.
I just know he's my hero.
Yeah.
And he does well. And if you give him a chance, that's it. Just give him a chance. You'd be surprised. You know, believe in the child. Believe in that person.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all both so much for joining us, and thank you for making it real and reminding us all of how important your job is and how important you are, Maurice. We appreciate all that hard work that you're doing and how you're changing people's lives. So thank you so much.
Sure, no problem.